Distinguished clergy, Honorable Senator Menendez, County Executive Tedesco, members of government, members of the Knights, Daughters of Vartan, and Armenian organizations, honored guests, friends, and colleagues. As National Commander of the Knights of Vartan, I greet you in solidarity on this hallowed historic occasion of the centennial commemoration of the Armenian genocide, the first genocide of the 20th century. I am a second-generation Armenian genocide survivor. My mother's father, Nazareth, was born in 1900 in Marzavan, one of 5 siblings, 2 of whom they themselves buried after murder by the Ottoman Turks. And my father's parents, Zarohi and Khacher, both were orphaned by the Armenian genocide in the town of Hackensack. Every Armenian everywhere in the world today can tell you their story of who in their family was lost in which town during the Armenian genocide, who survived during the brutal killings and marches, and how they came to occupy their place in the populations of Armenians around the world that we now call the diaspora. That is from whence we come. We remember that a century ago, 1.5 million Armenian citizens living for thousands of years in their homeland, occupied by Ottoman Turkey, chose to defend their freedom of conscience and national identity, refused to be subjugated because of their ethnicity, and as a result lost their lives to the organized, state-sponsored genocide perpetrated by Ottoman Turkey with swords and guns and mass deportations. More than half of the world's Armenians were wiped out in ruthless, systematic operations that less than 3 decades later became a template for the German Nazi regime to perpetrate the Holocaust upon Jews and other minorities in Europe. Germany has acknowledged its complicity in the Holocaust, made reparations, and reclaimed a respected place on the world stage. However, the government of Turkey sits defiantly before God and man, soiled in the shame of its great unpunished crime, denying as recently as last week that this genocide ever occurred, while unbelievably threatening to deport 100,000 Armenians working in its borders because they are Armenian. We demand acknowledgement, accountability, and reparations from Turkey. Germany, France, the European Parliament, the Vatican, Australia, and many governments and state governments in the United States have formally acknowledged the guilt of Ottoman Turkey in perpetrating genocide upon its Armenian citizens. But the leader of the free world, President Obama, again in yesterday's uncourageous, semantically delicate statement, provides safe harbor for Turkey's denial of the historical facts. We call upon President Obama now to show integrity of conviction, courage, and righteousness, as exemplified by His Holiness Pope Francis in declaring that Ottoman Turkey committed genocide against its Armenian citizens. Our victory over the Armenian genocide in this centennial year, however, is not dependent on the acknowledgement by the complicit barbarian, nor on the illegitimate response of its allies. In this centennial year, we celebrate the blessed canonization of our martyred ancestors as saints of the Armenian Church, whose souls are in heaven. I believe our sainted ancestors now are looking upon us from glory in heaven, reminding us that through their sacrifice we have received the gift of our national identity and freedom of conscience as Christian Armenians, and that our victory is to build on what they have accomplished in 3 ways. First, live, and live boldly, in defiance of those who sought to annihilate us. Live with conviction, courage, and unbridled devotion to a cause that is greater than yourself, for the continuing benefit of our still recovering community. Second, our martyred saints are saying to us, Embrace the sacrifice of your time, treasure, and opportunity for that good cause which is greater than yourself. My parents taught me that there is no greater accomplishment we can make in this world than that which contributes to the lives of others. This willingness to embrace sacrifice is not an event, but a way of living, to build on the accomplishments of our ancestors. Third, our sainted ancestors exhort us to remind and never, ever forget. As survivors of the first genocide of the 20th century, we have a unique responsibility to remind the world of the horrors of genocide, and a responsibility to lead that growing chorus of voices who demand that never again shall the civil world tolerate genocide in any form, at any time, on any people. Beginning in this resurrection year, let us abandon tears and lamentations and lift up our eyes to meet the gaze of our martyred saints in heaven. Let us look to them as we now commit ourselves to live boldly. Let us so devote ourselves to sacrifice in service to our people. Let us so perfectly collaborate amongst each other. And let us so effectively amplify the chorus of voices saying never again to genocide, that as the history of the next century is written, men and women will say of this generation, these are indeed the victors.